In the quiet moments of our lives, when nothing seems to be amiss, we often find ourselves enveloped by a sense of unease. Our minds wander to worries about events that have yet to occur, or they linger on moments that have already passed, leaving a residue of unrest in our hearts. This may be a sign that we are holding on to something, unable to let go. The emotions of anxiety, worry, and regret, though appearing distinct, are intertwined, stemming from a singular root: the inability to release. We live our lives grasping at the threads of what we hope will be, clinging to the affections of others, holding on to past occurrences, and even reaching out to seize a future that has not yet arrived. We believe that by doing so, we will find safety and lessen our fears. Yet paradoxically, the more we cling, the more discomfort we experience. Anxiety swells, worries stretch endlessly, and regrets refuse to fade away. Why does this cycle persist? Buddhism offers a simple explanation. Suffering does not arise from the circumstances themselves, but from the clinging of the mind. Everything is in a state of flux. People change, opportunities pass, and time never stands still. Yet, we strive to grasp the impermanent as if it were unchanging, and therein lies the source of our suffering. Consider the moments before an important event. Naturally, the mind wavers. What if things go wrong? What if I fail? How will others perceive me? As soon as we latch onto these thoughts, our minds grow heavier, our focus scatters, and the tasks at hand slip from our grasp. Conversely, those who do not cling behave differently even in the same situation. They do what they can and release their grip on the outcome, focusing solely on the present task. Such individuals remain calm and often achieve better results. The difference lies in one simple question: do we hold on or do we let go? Anxiety arises when we cling to the future, while regret emerges from holding on to the past. Worry, in turn, serves to bind our minds between these two states. We may think that this clinging protects us, but in truth, it is the opposite. The grasping mind only deepens our suffering. The world is naturally in a state of flow. The more we try to hold on, the further things slip away, while letting go allows them to flow naturally. When we cease to resist this flow, our minds find peace. Letting go is not about giving up or doing nothing. It is about releasing the desire to hold on to what is beyond our control. Perhaps what troubles you is not the situation itself, but your mind's insistence on holding on to it. Reflect for a moment. What is it that you cannot release? Is it something from the past? A future that has yet to come? Or perhaps the heart of another? The moment you let go, your mind becomes lighter, your thoughts clearer, and your actions more naturally aligned. The mind that clings becomes blocked, while the mind that lets go flows freely. Yet, many of us stop at this realization. We understand that we need to let go, but we do not know how. We are aware that clinging brings suffering, and letting go brings peace. But even with this knowledge, we struggle. The mind does not easily follow our thoughts. Often, the more we resolve to let go, the tighter we hold on. What we need is not willpower, but a method, a way to let go naturally rather than forcefully. The first step is to become aware. Most of our anxiety, worry, and regret begin unconsciously. A thought arises, seemingly insignificant, but the moment we latch onto it, our minds are drawn in. For instance, a sudden thought: what if I make a mistake? If we do not recognize this thought, it leads to another. What if everything falls apart? What if people are disappointed? How will I manage? These thoughts chain together, eventually transforming into emotions that dominate the mind. However, the moment we become aware of the beginning, the flow is interrupted. I am starting to worry. Anxiety is rising again. Taking a step back and observing is the first step. The key is not to try to eliminate these thoughts, as doing so only amplifies them. Simply becoming aware and watching them is enough. Yet, there remains a lingering question that often whispers in the quiet corners of our minds. Why do we cling so tightly to what we know brings us discomfort? Is it merely a habit, or is there a deeper reason that roots us in this cycle of grasping and suffering? We are aware, on some level, that letting go brings ease, while holding on only tightens the grip of distress. Despite this awareness, we find ourselves unable to release our hold. The reasons for this are not as simple as a lack of willpower. They are woven into the fabric of our beliefs. Deep within, there is a conviction that holding on ensures safety. We believe that by clinging to people, we preserve relationships. By worrying, we prevent problems. By harboring anxiety, we prepare for the unknown. This belief system makes the act of letting go feel perilous, as if we are stepping into the unknown without a safety net. However, this belief is a distortion of reality. Worrying does not dissolve problems, nor does anxiety enhance our preparedness. In fact, the opposite often holds true. The more our minds are agitated, the more clouded our judgment becomes, and our actions are delayed. Still, we persist in our attempts to hold on, driven by a desire to control. We wish to control the hearts of others, the outcomes of our endeavors, and the unfolding of the future. Yet, the truth is that what we can control is far less than we imagine. We cannot dictate the feelings of others, change the past, or foresee the future. Our attempts to exert control leave us in a constant state of tension, manifesting as anxiety, worry, and regret. In Buddhist teachings, this is known as attachment, not merely a fondness, but a desire for things to unfold according to our wishes and a refusal to accept any other outcome. The stronger the attachment, the more easily we are shaken by even the smallest changes. For instance, if a single comment from someone can affect your mood for an entire day, it is not simply because you like the person, it is because your heart is already entangled. When events do not go as planned and the scene replays in your mind, causing distress, it is not the situation itself, but the attachment to the outcome that causes suffering. The core of the issue lies not outside, but within. The inability to let go is not due to an unchangeable situation, but rather a mind unwilling to release its grasp. Here lies an important realization. It is not that we cannot let go, but that we are choosing not to. This distinction is significant. If it were truly impossible to let go, there would be no solution. However, if it is a matter of choice, then change becomes possible. Of course, making this choice is not easy. We have become accustomed to our ways over time. Yet the moment we understand this, transformation begins. I have been holding on. I have been choosing not to let go. This realization allows the mind to gradually loosen its grip. And from this understanding arises another question. How can we naturally let go? Not through force, but through a true release of the heart. The most fundamental way to sever attachment is through understanding. We already know that the more we cling, the more we suffer, and that at the heart of this suffering lies attachment. So, the question narrows down to one. How can this attachment naturally dissolve? Many believe that they must endure, that they must constantly strengthen their resolve, that they must hold on tightly. But the truth is, forcing emotions into submission rarely works. Suppressed emotions do not disappear, they simply hide, waiting to resurface. Thus, what is needed is not suppression, but comprehension. In Buddhism, it is said that attachment arises from ignorance. This ignorance is not merely a lack of knowledge, but a state of misunderstanding. We fail to see things as they truly are, perceiving the impermanent as permanent, the non-self as self, and the fleeting as enduring. This misperception leads us to cling. Yet, the moment we truly see the truth, the mind naturally begins to release its hold. In the journey of understanding and transforming our minds, we often encounter the notion of letting go. Yet, it is crucial to discern between genuine release and mere abandonment. In Buddhism, letting go is not about ceasing action. Rather, it is about altering the mindset with which we engage in our actions. When one clings to outcomes, they are perpetually at the mercy of external circumstances. Success brings fleeting joy, while failure can lead to despair. Conversely, those who focus on the process find a steadier ground. They engage in their duties and accept the outcomes with equanimity. This subtle shift, though seemingly minor, can profoundly transform one's life. A life of attachment is one lived in constant tension, fraught with anxiety about potential missteps, fear of loss, and the instability of constant comparison. In contrast, a life free from attachment is fundamentally more serene. Regardless of the outcome, one's inner stability remains intact. This state of being is facilitated by balance, a balance that neither expects too much nor relinquishes too readily, that neither clings too tightly nor remains indifferent. In Buddhism, this balance is known as the middle way, a state of mind that avoids extremes and is marked by stability. Consider the example of undertaking a task. If one believes they must excel at all costs, anxiety sets in from the outset. On the other hand, if they adopt a lackadaisical attitude, focus dissipates. However, by simply committing to doing their best in the present moment, the mind finds a comfortable yet focused state. This is the essence of exerting effort without attachment. We often fall into the misconception that holding on tightly will enhance our performance. Yet, paradoxically, the opposite is true. The more we release, the better we perform, because a lighter heart sharpens focus. Thus, the key lies in relinquishing the need for specific results and immersing oneself in the process. When we live this way, life becomes increasingly simple and the mind grows more stable. Eventually, we come to realize that we are already okay without striving excessively. However, there comes a moment when we encounter another challenge. Intellectually, we may grasp these concepts, yet emotionally, we find ourselves lagging behind. We understand, yet still feel anxious, unstable, and burdened. Why does this discrepancy arise? The reason is straightforward. Understanding occurs in the mind, while suffering manifests in the body. We comprehend through thought, recognizing that attachment leads to suffering and that release brings comfort. Yet, emotions do not vanish with mere thought, for they are deeply ingrained habits. Over time, we have reacted in the same ways, thinking more when anxious, clinging tighter when worried, and revisiting old regrets. These repetitive patterns cause our minds to react automatically, so much so that we feel before we think. This is the habit of emotion. Thus, mere understanding is insufficient. While understanding can redirect us, changing habits requires time. It is important to remember that emotions are not to be eradicated, but allowed to pass. Many strive to eliminate emotions, trying not to feel anxiety or worry, or attempting to erase regrets. Yet, the more we resist, the stronger they become, for resistance only prolongs their presence. Emotions resemble waves. The harder we try to block them, the more forcefully they crash. If left alone, they eventually pass. Therefore, the task is not to fight or endure, but to allow them to flow through. When anxiety arises, do not attempt to banish it. Simply feel it. When worry begins, do not struggle to halt it, just acknowledge it. When regret surfaces, do not force it away. Let it be. Initially, this may feel uncomfortable, prompting a desire to cling once more. Yet, if we endure this moment, emotions lose their grip more swiftly than expected. As this experience accumulates, the mind gradually learns that there is no need to hold on, that it is okay to let things be. From this point, change begins. Emotions may arise, but we are no longer swept away as before. Thoughts may emerge, but they do not persist. This is the process of lightening the heart. The goal is not the complete eradication of emotions, but rather the ability to let them arise and pass without disturbance. This suffices. As we journey through life, we often find ourselves clinging to familiar patterns of worry and attachment, believing that these habits somehow shield us from life's uncertainties. Yet, when we pause to reflect, we may question whether these tendencies truly guide us toward a more fulfilling existence. Does excessive worrying resolve our problems more effectively? Does holding on to regrets improve our lives in any meaningful way? More often than not, the answer is no. In fact, these habits may have the opposite effect, weighing us down and clouding our perception of the present moment. In recognizing this, we are presented with an opportunity to choose differently. Instead of defaulting to our habitual responses, we can make a conscious choice to let go. When worry arises, we can choose not to follow it down its familiar path. When thoughts begin to spiral, we can decide not to climb aboard that train of thought. When the urge to cling surfaces, we can gently loosen our grip. Initially, this practice may feel awkward and unfamiliar. It may even stir feelings of anxiety or emptiness, prompting us to wonder if we're on the right path. Yet, these sensations are signals that change is underway. The discomfort of the unfamiliar is a sign that we are venturing into new territory, away from the well-trodden paths of our past. As we continue to practice this new way of being, a subtle shift begins to occur. What once felt natural, worrying and holding on, starts to feel burdensome, while letting go becomes more intuitive. We find that we no longer need to exert effort to maintain this state. Our minds begin to naturally gravitate toward peace and ease. This is the moment when a new habit takes root, born from the accumulation of small, deliberate choices. Each moment presents us with a decision, to hold on to a thought or to let it pass. Over time, these choices accumulate, transforming the fabric of our lives. When we embrace a life of letting go, we gain more than just a reduction in suffering. A deeper transformation unfolds. The first noticeable change is the lightness of our hearts. Where once a single worry could linger for an entire day, now thoughts and emotions pass through us more swiftly. This alone brings a sense of relief and buoyancy to our daily existence. Our relationships also begin to transform. Expectations, often the source of disappointment, start to diminish. We find ourselves less shaken by others' actions, and our interactions become more harmonious. Without the need to control or conform, our connections with others become more genuine and relaxed. In our work and daily routines, we discover that letting go leads to greater flow and productivity. Contrary to the belief that we must hold tightly to succeed, we find that ease and simplicity often lead to better outcomes. As our minds become less cluttered, our focus sharpens and our actions become more effective. Our relationship with ourselves also undergoes a profound change. We become less critical and more accepting of our imperfections. The harsh self-judgments that once plagued us give way to a kinder, more compassionate self-view. This shift brings a profound sense of peace and self-acceptance. Finally, our perspective on life as a whole begins to evolve. We come to understand that control is an illusion and that life is a continuous flow of change. Instead of resisting this truth, we learn to embrace it, living fully in each moment and accepting the outcomes as they unfold. This acceptance simplifies our lives, reducing unnecessary mental clutter and emotional turmoil. In this state of being, we realize that many of the things we once clung to were not as significant as we believed. This realization brings a newfound freedom and transforms our entire experience of life. We learn that holding on brings suffering while letting go brings peace. As we practice this art of letting go, we may falter, but with each small step, we move closer to a life of ease and fulfillment. Returning to the present moment without clinging or holding on is a practice that, when repeated, gradually teaches the mind a new way of being. Initially, the mind may waver frequently, but with time, it learns to recover more swiftly, and eventually, the wavering itself diminishes. It is important not to strive for perfection. Anxiety may still arise, and worries may still surface, but this is a natural part of being human. The key is not to be swept away by these emotions. Simply allowing them to pass without attachment is enough. As this practice accumulates, a stable state of mind becomes our default. From this place of stability, there is no need to exert effort. The mind naturally chooses the path of ease and comfort. In this journey, we have come a long way. From the beginnings of anxiety, worry, and attachment, we have explored the origins of suffering, the process of letting go, and how life transforms through this practice. The essence of this journey can be distilled into a simple truth. It is not the circumstances themselves that cause us distress. Neither past events, future uncertainties, nor the thoughts of others inherently disturb us. It is our own clinging mind that creates suffering. Thus, the solution is not complex. It is about letting go. However, letting go carries a deeper meaning than simply forgetting, ignoring, or giving up. It means allowing things to be as they are, without forcing change or imposing our will, and letting them flow naturally. This is true release. Throughout our lives, we have held on to many things: people, relationships, outcomes, even our emotions. This grasping has been the source of our struggles, yet now we can choose to live differently. When the urge to cling arises, we can relax our grip just a little. When worries surface, we can take a step back. When anxiety emerges, we can allow it to pass through. These small shifts can begin to transform our entire life. Initially, this may not be easy, and that is perfectly okay. We do not need to be perfect. We simply need to notice one more time, let go one more time, and return to the present one more time. This is enough. At some point, we may come to realize that there were fewer things to hold on to than we thought, that letting go was more permissible than we imagined, and that we were already in a better state than we believed. From this realization, life becomes simpler and lighter. Remembering just this one truth is sufficient. A clinging mind creates suffering, while a mind that lets go allows life to flow. If this sentence comes to mind whenever needed, your life has already begun to change. Even in this moment, if you find yourself holding on to something, try releasing your grip just a little. That is enough. We often strive to do better, but sometimes, letting go brings about greater transformation than holding on. If there is something you are clinging to in your heart right now, try loosening your hold just a bit. Even that is enough. If this narration has lightened your heart even slightly, then this story has already served its purpose. We will return with deeper and more comforting stories in the future. Thank you.